That would probably be my pick. Oh my God! There's the beauty of titanium. Right, Matty. Lovely to see you.
Good to see you,
How are you,
Justin.
man?
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
We're up top deck here in the penthouse suite.
I know.
Guys, listen, here's the brief. So Matt got in touch with me. God, it must have been 6, 8, 10, 12 months ago on email.
It's been a blur.
You sent me some very exciting emails, and I saw your surname, and I thought, okay, this guy's got to be South African. So I thought, we're going to have a back and forth. We had a back and forth. You are a founder of a brand. We're going to come to that later.
Yes.
But since then, we've talked about your own watches, we talked about the brand's journey, we talked about the industry a few times over coffee. But today we thought it would be interesting to get into the psyche of a designer. You're an engineer by training, right?
Engineer,
An engineer by training, but
yeah.
you're a designer as well. So
Yeah, I think I'm a mechanical and manufacturing engineer, so my design process and how we come up with our watches is very like engineering, manufacturing focused, and that's what we'll talk about today, and it'll probably be a reason of why I've chosen certain things with our watches.
And we were just talking about Richard Bank from Student, his interview I did a while back, which I thought was cool because very rarely do you get that insight into the mind of the maker.
Yeah.
And through your watches, I hope that people feel that they get a view into that. And I really do feel that your brand's going to have a real impact in the next year or two. So
Thank you.
Super exciting. Tell us about these two watches. Tell us about the first one, which was, strangely, my grandfather had an Omega. He gave me as well.
Yeah.
So tell us about this one.
Must have been something with South Africa.
There we go. So he was in South Africa, was he?
Yeah, so my name's Matt Oosthuizen, and to get that started, and my grandfather on my mum's side was an electrical engineer in South Africa, and he was responsible for a lot of the infrastructure work in the airports and all of that in Johannesburg. And this was the watch that he bought when he graduated university and got his civil engineering
where did you go
and
to uni?
electrical. Oh, I'd have to go in. I think it was one of the.
I only say it
because
my folks talk about their time in South Africa so fondly and their school days. He must have had a headache or two with the shortages, the power shortage, because the electric shorts, right?
Yeah. I think he was
surges?
building the infrastructure. Maybe he was responsible for the shortages now, 30, 40 years later. That was the watch that he wore, and he bought, I think, probably when similar age than I bought my first watch, which is why having these two together is so kind of powerful for me. And then when he passed away, this kind of sat in a cupboard with my grandma. And when I started getting into watches, she said, oh, there's actually your granddad's Omega sitting in the cupboard. So when we went there a couple of years, maybe 4 years ago, I brought this back with me, and it's getting a rotation in. It's very difficult when you're starting a brand to feel like to wear anything else, because when you're meeting people and you're talking about your brand, you want to have that on your wrist rather than show photos. So I've started to, as we've become a bit more established, and we're still pretty unknown, but I've tried to get this into a bit of a rotation, and this definitely gets more wrist time than the big chunk of metal.
So how old were you then when you got this? You were given this by mum?
I was probably about 24.
And you'd had an interest in watches, but you hadn't launched the brand yet.
This was kind of as I was starting to launch the brand. So I bought my first proper watch, started wearing that more, was getting into watches, and then I went and collected that from my grandma when we were in,
Do you remember
in South
wearing
Africa. Yes, there was a couple of ones, and when I got it, it was actually on one of those very like 70s, the like flexible kind of metal straps that could expand. So when I got it.
Guaranteed aftermarket. One of those
exactly. It didn't look great. There was probably a lot of his still parts of him left in there probably. So got a new strap on it, and then I went to kind of have it refurbished, but I wanted it to keep the essence of him, and I think you can't touch a dial with a vintage watch. So I wanted there to be.
And the case is beautiful. That sort of that quite sharp drop down on the lugs. The case is stunning. I thought it was a Ranchero when I first saw it, but it's got a lovely patina, the dial, and the proportion's quite modest. I mean, 30.
I think it's 33 points.
33, yeah, 33. Really lovely.
It's on that
really lovely
sweet spot. I can wear it. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
It's still crispy. So it gets the odd run out, but more than that, it's the memory. And strangely, exactly the same story as me. I mean, my except it was my dad that found this constellation, this Omega constellation. Said he used to wear this all the time. One watch guy, same as your granddad. One watch guy, and Omega back then really was sort of the gold standard. Like, it was seemingly, from what I understand, more well regarded than Rolex on the wrist. So, yeah, interesting.
And I think it's my dad is an engineer for a different side, but we're kind of this small line of engineers now coming, so it's a good thing, and that I'll pass down to hopefully a son or daughter that becomes an engineer. But I'm told that I'm not allowed to push them in that direction. They need to find out what they want to do.
Have you got brothers and sisters?
Yes, I've got one sister.
Is she engineer?
No, she did kind of consulting, works with brands and stuff. So yeah, a little bit different.
And Dad, was he sort of like, was he one of those dads at Christmas where he would start making things, like he would do the DIY stuff, whatever, and you'd have to jump in and then kind of go head to head with him?
No, it's funny. My dad actually got me into 3D printing, and he was always a tinkerer. He would always think of something that he could design or build around the house. And really, in like 2014, when the desktop 3D printing industry kind of blew up, that changed the game, because before it was, you can have an idea of something that you want to fix, you're going to have to do it with your hand, or it's going to be very expensive to get something made. But now you can have a piece of machinery that's about this size on your desktop, and you can go from an idea of something that's irritating you we had a gate that kept blowing open in the summer, so designing a part for that, you can then have that finished in a couple of minutes really now. So that was, my dad's always been a tinkerer and been a true kind of inspiration for getting me into engineering.
Did he enjoy watches? Does he enjoy watches?
He's always got, he bought probably, I think when he was about 27, 28, maybe a little bit older, he's always worn a aerospace, Breitling aerospace, yeah, titanium. And
sketchy men wear Breitling. I don't know him, but that's what our friends at Watches of Espionage keep pushing. It's interesting, and he's so loyal to that.
Yes, he wears that most of the time, and then now he's starting to wear our watches because we give prototypes.
God, he must be proud. He must be proud.
Yeah.
Okay, so you touched on that. So this was your version of your grandpa's watch there.
Exactly.
Mid-20s. What was it about Tudor that was appealing?
Yeah, so I actually started my watch journey with an Apple Watch, which I know is the.
That's brilliant though. That shows that actually getting an Apple Watch on the wrist is that first start point. Yeah.
It was a bit of a gateway, and I was taking photos, going out for nice dinners, and I thought, okay, I need to pair the app. Like, it's hard to make an Apple Watch look good. You can put nice straps on it, you can put different things, but fundamentally, it looks like Ben 10, right? You have this big screen on your wrist, and I got a promotion at work, and thought, okay, what can I do to kind of celebrate it? And I was starting to learn more about watches at the time, and I wanted to see what can I do with my first big boy purchase. So really, I was looking at Tudor, and it's a safe bet, right? Like you're going to get a really good, really quality watch for the money, and it's going to last you decades. It's going to be something that I could end up passing down to my grandchildren at one point. And I worked for an American company, so I was traveling a lot, and a lot of my colleagues were in San Francisco, so I wanted to have some sort of GMT function in there. So I was looking around what type of different watches there were on the market, and that was when the Black Bay Pro came out. So me and Sam, my co-founder of Apia, went to the AD, and this was like a couple of, I think like a month after it launched, and they said that one of the allocations hadn't come and picked it up, so they had one available, and we walked out with that.
Where was the AD?
It was in Knightsbridge.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was the Watch of Switzerland there.
Oh, cool.
So we were just trying different ones. I was trying on some Black Bay, kind of normal Black Bays. I think the Ranger hadn't come out yet, but it was really just a versatile steel sports watch, which is very different from the watches we do now. I think it probably weighs about four times of our watches, but it was that one to just get me in and really appreciating the engineering and the design that went into it. And obviously there is some based off of the Rolex as well. The kind of the
you can see you've really got you've given it some wear, which is great.
I have, yeah.
It's just fantastic. And it's got a combination of sort of heritage, feel, and modernity, something fresh and new.
I was thinking, okay, what's next? You get bit by that bug. You say, okay, now what's the next one? Which one's the next watch that I'm going to go and buy? And instead of buying a watch, I thought it would be smarter to start my own brand, which was a bad finance, probably more expensive than just going to buy another watch. But really, I wanted to see what I liked in watches, and the thing was the engineering and the manufacturing behind it, and the design for manufacture, the design for creating the watch. And my whole degree was pretty much based off of additive or 3D printing. My job is working in a tech company that's responsible for the software for additive manufacturing and engineering and design. And I couldn't really find a watch that had that level of tech, bringing it into the watch. So I thought, well, I've got an engineering background, I can design, can do CAD, can do CAM, etc. Why don't I see if I can actually bring what I like in the engineering industry and bring that into watches? So that was the first watch that I started working on. It wasn't actually for it to be a brand, it was more something for me, for maybe to give to my dad to wear. And my co-founder Sam is also a engineer. He works for an engineering consultancy, so he was obviously game because he wants to have a watch that you can wear to work that nobody else has. You sit in a room and they're like, what the hell is that?
And did you both agree on what you wanted in a watch? What you wanted to feel like, what you wanted to wear like, what you wanted to look like?
Yeah, we wanted I actually based a lot of the sizing of the first watch on this, of the 39mm case. I think it's so versatile. Obviously, we didn't really go as thick as this. Wanted a date function, etc. So a lot of the case shape was somewhat derived from the Tudor, but I wanted it to be obviously 3D printed, that you can only achieve that case shape and case geometry with additive manufacturing.
Have we had watch brands attempt to do this in the past?
So there's a brand called Holfenrich that is an incredible brand out in Delft, and I love what they're doing. Their approach is more from a sculptural element, looking at architecture, taking inspiration from that and doing their case shapes off of that. With Apia, the whole focus was how can we look at what the engineering industry is doing, what Formula One, what Bugatti, what NASA are doing, that incredible things that they can create that would be seemingly impossible, and then bringing that into watches.
And it's funny because we've had that. We've seen brands like Richard Mille and others who are in Formula One talking about utilising the technology, but actually often it's sort of, you know, a carbon fibre here and a bit of this, bit of that, but it's not a really deep sort of sense of integration with that technology. What the hell have we got there, and why is it here?
Yeah, so this, well, I thought some props like show and tell. This is the inspiration of the watch that we're releasing this year called the Gen 1. And this is just a showcase of generative design. So you'll see it on the Bugatti Tourbillon or the Bugatti Chiron, how they're starting to use additive manufacturing or metal 3D printing in their components. This was actually a project that the company that I work for did with Ford, and they were looking at how they can optimize a seatbelt clamp. So generative design is a pretty complex algorithmic design process where you want to minimize the mass of a product but maximize its strength and kind of its ability to withstand forces. So for generative, you normally have preserved geometries. So you say, I have bolts that need to go here, so I need to have location features for that. And then you have obstacle geometries to say that, okay, there's going to be a post that sits in here, there's going to be something that bolts in there, there's going to be something that goes here to block off that geometry. And then you apply forces onto that, and then the software, and you say how you're going to manufacture it, and then the software goes and organically grows that structure to maximize the strength, to meet those criteria that you've put on it, and then minimize the material usage and weight. So I thought that, I mean, this is something that is being used on hypercars, and NASA use it on their satellites, but there's very few people that can pay £5 million for a Bugatti or have a chance to go to space. So, and this is something that if you went and I showed this to my granddad when he was working in engineering 50 years ago, he'd be like, the hell is that? That is like a science fiction looking.
It's got
organic.
an alien feel about it. It's got a sort of out of this world.
Impossible thing that you wouldn't think to be able to manufacture. And that's really what we want to do with our watches, is how we can take things that are almost out of reach for people in the engineering industry, that only certain types of people, even if you work in the industry or you have shitloads of money that you can buy this type of equipment. We want to bring that, condense it and bring it into watchmaking. And that is what the reason for me starting the brand with Sam was. I wanted a watch that took all of that, that I saw these projects, saw this at the company, and I wanted to bring that into a watch.
And the other thing about watchmaking is we either look backwards or we sort of iterate on the past. We don't see a great deal of genuine, fresh inspiration, design, language. There's no two ways about it. This is fresh. Yeah. Entirely fresh and different. And that's the Gen 1 there in its entirety. That's the prototype.
Yeah.
38mm case.
Yes.
I said to you before we started filming, for me, looking at it, and my technical knowledge is very, very poor. I definitely failed physics at school. But I'm looking at this just from an aesthetic perspective. It's got almost like a cradle sense to it, sort of almost like a nest, a bird's nest, effectively, with the case sat in on it.
Exactly, and yeah, that was the early one that we did at showed at British Watchmakers Day, and it was too rough around the edges to really show, but we wanted to highlight that this is an engineering process, right? You're going to fail, you're going to learn, and it's going to take a while to iterate. And then this is kind of the outcome of that. So the way that the Gen 1 is structured, and we do all of this manufacturing in the UK, which is something...
You've got lots of different partners that you work with,
yes,
that are often not working in watchmaking either, which is interesting.
No, exactly. I don't think... it's maybe only our dial manufacturers that are actually like watch-specific brands, and the strap maker, David, over the strap tailor. The watch is actually structured with 3 different components. So the cradle, like you're talking about, that is the generatively inspired element. So that's taking that same technology that we had, using it to do the kind of shapes, and we have some of that shown on our website. And then we've worked with a designer called Max Resnick to take that shape and then bring that into a watch that is more aesthetic.
When I see it there, I'm actually now seeing an architectural aspect. There's a sense of that type of modernity in architecture being implemented there.
Exactly, and you'll see it. There's nature inspires everywhere. It's organic structures. There's efficiency all around us, and that's what this type of technology shows.
And then the dial has almost like a spiderweb sense to it.
Yeah, and the dial is manufactured as part of the mid case. So again, with the impossible nature of the watch, we wanted not to just have a plain dial that you make on a CNC machine. It had to be only really possible with additive manufacturing.
What materials are we talking about here?
These are all grade 23 titanium. So
very, very light.
Very light. The grade is depending on how pure the metal is, but actually how much oxygen content there is.
Grade 23?
Yeah, so
grade
it's
23.
about...
I know titanium grade 5.
Yeah.
Like that's typically what we see.
Yeah.
Right? So very difficult to polish.
Yes.
What are we talking here? We're talking
grade 23 is mainly focused on the biomedical industry. It's a super bioadaptable material because it has almost little to none oxygen content in the metal. Okay. So it means that when you print something and it goes into a hip replacement or a part that goes into your body is more likely to adopt it and grow around it. Whereas if you have a low grade, like a grade 2, that has a lot of oxygen content in there, you're going to have more possibilities of it rejecting that part.
Okay. Very, very cool. And what I love is it's, as I say, very fresh. It's different to anything else. On the wrist, incredibly comfortable. I love titanium. There's an industrial feel about it, and it is just wonderfully different. When is this launch? When is this coming out?
So this probably when this video depends. It's 15th of August, and we're doing it as we have 2 dial colors. So we have the dusk that you have there, and then this is the dawn that's a golder color. So we wanted there to be that 2 different types depending on who you are. If you wanted a more refined color that do you
know what, that probably is that would probably be my pick. Oh my god! There's the beauty of titanium. Super light, easy to catch. Can you tell I played in the slips? No. Wow. No. That for me, that's actually the colorway. Just a little bit of intrigue there.
Yeah.
Of a legibility difference there as well. Obviously, you don't have markers, distinct markers. You've got minute track, but you don't have hour markers.
Well, we actually with the spider's web comment, we didn't intend it to be a spider's web. It was just we were looking at how we can have connecting features that were strong enough to handle the dial when we were pressing up against it, and it just happened that as we were designing it, the web structure was the only way to achieve that. And on the minute, and this is a very 3-dimensional dial, the webs actually kind of propagate to the hour markers. So when you look at it,
I can see it now, the 3D effect on and it rising to the, and also it's got a bit of a webbed feel to it. I mean, to go even deeper into the spider web, the actual bridges themselves of the dial have a sort of feathering to them.
And that's done purely by the printing process. So we print them at a slight angle like that, and that is just the layer lines that we're seeing. They're about 0.06 millimeters, so 60 microns of layers, and that's just being built up over.
Final point for me is actually the size. And by the way, guys, I haven't seen these. This is the cool thing. We didn't pre-game at all. I just wanted it to be as authentic and honest as it could be. I haven't actually handled this. I've only seen photos. The logo is very, very small, and it's on the crystal itself, which I really appreciate, because now the logos are getting bigger and bigger, and they're everywhere. Whereas that is a really almost a vintage touch.
It's been pretty much vintage sizing. The The logo needs to be there so you know which brand it is, but I think this is a distinct enough design that you can walk in there, and once we get bigger as a brand, that's not going to get
Final question,
distracted.
price point?
2,250, that's including VAT, so 1875 excluding VAT.
I'm not asking you specifically about the name because I want people in the comments to have their thoughts. If they don't know the brand, what they think the name is, where it comes from, what it means. The movement I should touch on.
Yes,
What's the movement?
Le Juperet G101.
Brilliant.
So you're getting 68 hour power reserve. We do, it's a closed case back, so we wanted to have a price point that was pretty accessible for people. I think you're getting a lot of watch here for that price point, because not only the additive manufacturing, but when we started the brand, we wanted it to be that it's a British brand in the truest of sense. We are working with partners and manufacturers in the UK. We supply, it's a Swiss movement, and we have the hands and the crown made outside, but the cases, the straps, the packaging, the dial, everything is made in the UK, because there's a lot of great brands, British brands out there that are making incredible watches. I'm thinking like Bowcroft come to mind with that lower price point, doing something very good for kind of the Gada watch space. But we didn't want to compete in that area. We wanted, if we were going to do something with this technology that is impossible, that nobody else is really doing, we have to do it in the UK, and we're going to have to do that at a high price point, because this is a more expensive process. We're not just having mass-produced components. Everything is being done in batch production.
Are these two limited in that sense?
No, so we also didn't want to do that. We wanted there to be, these are going to be 2 watches that will be available. They might be unavailable at certain periods, just as we're catching up with production, but the Dawn and Dusk will be a core range that we continue. We wanted to make the most out of our supply chain in the UK, so we're going to do more of a lean manufacturing approach, where we build up a small amount of stock, can build through the watches of people that they order, and then every time someone orders, we'll have some sort of kind of Kanban system to get more products being made by our partners. We're not hamstrung by a minimum order quantity of a Chinese factory or a Swiss factory. Everything is being done by different companies in the UK. The laser powder bed process, the additive process is done in Wales. We CNC machine them in Gloucester. The dials are done in Tenbury Wells. The straps are made in Aylesbury. It's really like
we should do a tour. I'd love to see a video of you taking us on
we have
a GB tour. Effectively.
We'll be all over.
Do you know what? Final note, Matthew. Thank you very much. Really, really cool, and such a pleasure. I've got to say one final thing is that I think one of the reasons that we love independent watchmakers, no matter what price point they come in at, it's just the sheer nuts and the courage to start something. And very, very few people out there will ever have the courage to do something. And also, they won't realise the heartache that goes into these things. The cost, financially, emotionally, to the family, it's a serious shift. And this is the very least I can do to support someone who's put themselves on the line. So I really hope everyone enjoyed hearing from the man himself. And whenever you get the chance, reach out to them, get one on the wrist, and try it. It's super cool.
Yeah,
I really respect it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Justin.
Top
Appreciate
man.
it.
Pleasure,
Thanks.
Brother. Go well.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys, for joining. Please leave your comments below. Until next time, go well. Cheers.